devil. I'm the D-E, I'm the D-E-V-I, I'm the D-E, I'm the D-E-V-I, I'm the D-E, I'm the D-E-V, I'm the D-E-V-I-L. I'm the D-E, I'm the D-E-V-I, I'm the D-E, I'm the D-E-V-I, I'm the D-E, I'm the D-E-V, I'm the D-E-V-I-L, the devil.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome to the final, the end, the final word here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network. With your boy MattyB on the call on this beautiful Thursday night, February 13th, 2025, Valentine's. Is it Valentine's or Valentine's? Do people in Philadelphia call it Valentine's? I've been calling it Valentine's Day all my life. Maybe it's not quite that. But you know what it is, the day with all the hearts. The day with the chocolates. The day with the little baby with the diaper and the bow and arrow. You know the thing. Valentine's Day Eve. Which for millions of people around the Delaware Valley tomorrow will take on a whole other meaning, because Valentine's Day is about to enter and join ranks with Halloween as 2 days of the year that we will never forget here in the Delaware Valley. You guys remember back in 2008 on Halloween, the Phillies celebrated their World Series championship with their parade, and tomorrow the Eagles will celebrate Super Bowl 59 and their championship with a parade on Valentine's Day, which will rewrite what Valentine's Day means in the city of Philadelphia for millions of people forever. Yes, the obligatory I got proposed to at the parade will be a huge storyline going forward. A lot of people will have that story to tell their parents and friends and children for years to come. That when my drunk ass fiance and I were clamoring for a glimpse of the float coming up Broad Street, he went to one knee and he asked me to marry him on Valentine's Day 2025. So for all you people out there that don't know it yet and are about to find out over the next 24 hours or so, congratulations on your marriage and on your engagement. And for all you other people out there, congratulations on Valentine's Day. And for all you other people out there who are, as we speak, lining the parade route in South Philadelphia, in Center City, Philadelphia, and to a lesser extent, North Philadelphia, I wish you a quick evening, a not so cold evening, and I hope that the parade gets here sooner rather than later for you. I was a attendee of the 2018 parade, but I'm sadly not going to attend this one. Life has come at me a little bit quicker this time. So I am not going to go to the parade, but I know a lot of you are. And as I said, I wish you Godspeed. And especially for those of you that are making this their second parade appearance, who were in attendance in 2018, that are going to go back for 2025. So I hope you guys have a great day. Be honest with you, though, I don't know if, as soon as the Eagles won the Super Bowl, the thought of the parade, like I remember back in 2018, was one of the first things I thought about. This time around, I didn't really think about it that much, but I know a lot of you did not go to 2018, and for whatever reasons, and now you have an opportunity to kind of check that off your bucket list. And some of you out there were at 2018 and are going back again. So again, I hope you guys have a great day filled with fun, rejoicing, and green, as the Eagles will celebrate the Super Bowl victory tomorrow with their trek up Broad Street. And yes, it is applicable. Go get your spot on Broad Street now because you're going to need it. And I know there's people already lining the route. So we'll talk a little bit about that, of course. Big time story on the show tonight, as well as we'll continue our talk on the Eagles and their Super Bowl fallout. Yeah, because it's kind of what we're at right now. The title of the show is Homers, please do not wear out your knee pads on day one, because what I've heard from a lot of people over the past 3 or 4 days is extremely gushing. I mean, it's sickening, actually. And as I said, tomorrow being Valentine's Day, I guess it all kind of ties together. But some of the love fest that I've heard is borderlining on the insane, borderlining on the unhealthy, and borderlining on the well, not borderlining, but it's right there with the ridiculous. So we'll get into some more the battle, the never-ending battle between the homers and me, or the homers and everybody else. I don't want to champion myself as the opposition side of things, but that's the mantle I carry in life. But we'll talk a little bit more about that. Eagles or Phillies and spring training is in full effect down there in Clearwater, and tomorrow on Valentine's Day as well, around the country for all you college baseball fans. And I said this earlier in the week, you don't have to be a college baseball fan, but a baseball fan. Division I's about to kick off in full effect tomorrow around the country, as a bunch of games are scheduled to start as the Division I baseball season will kick off. And that's awesome. That's really awesome. The Four Nations tournament's in full swing. Team USA tonight will debut, and probably right about now, actually, out there. It's on TNT or ESPN. They're covering it. So if you haven't checked out some play of the Four Nations, I suggest you head over there now. And we'll do the other night segment and our card review segment and our final episode, the final episode of the final word for the week, as we've come to the end of yet another week, and some programming announcements about me next week, and how this show might be affected by next week, because I'm on the road. I'm hitting the road next week, folks. So I'll let you know how that might affect this show going forward over the next month, at least, as I prepare to head down south for about a month, or it could be up to 2 months, but definitely for a month. And all the other stuff that we'll do. And, of course, our night in Philadelphia sports history, as we always do on the program. And before I get into the day in Philadelphia sports history, I want to remind everybody that this show is brought to you by the good folks here at the It's a Wrap Sports Network, because without you, we could not do this. So please help us out. A like, a subscribe, a share, a smash the bell, all those great, wonderful things, and help us grow this thing to more than just me, because we are a young fledgling network looking for a break, and we definitely need it. So let's get it kicked off, folks. Tonight, your day in Philadelphia history, sports history. We're going to go back to the year 1981. Linda Hawkeye Page is a 1 in a million player, said Morrell Dobbins Tech girls basketball coach Tony Coma. She is Wilt Chamberlain to a girls game. On this day in 1981, Friday the 13th, which of course was this day in 1981, February 13th, was a Friday, Lady Mustangs Linda Page scored 100 points and a 131-37 drubbing of the Jules Mastonbaum Tech. She shot 41 for 58 from the field. 21 from free throw line, and 19 rebounds, 5 assists, 7 steals in a game that only 53 people watched. Wow. Page's individual achievement, while surely a well-earned feather in the sharpshooter's sweatband, was more of a triumph achievement for girls overall, athletics overall. So I told you this a long time ago. We will not shy away from the obscure in Philadelphia sports facts or history. And on this day, the Linda Page from Dobbins, scored 100 points and a 131-37 drubbing of Jules Mastonbaum Tech. She shot 41 for 58 from the field. Now, That's an accomplishment no matter what boys, girls, basketball. It doesn't really matter what specific game it is. That's definitely an accomplishment that needs to be reveled. And unfortunately, this is the first time I'm hearing about it. And that's the problem when it comes to this country. And I don't want to get ultra political tonight, and I really don't want to, but it's obviously about talent and skill level and competition. And in a lot of girls' sports just doesn't measure up to the boys. And it's just the way it is. I'm not here, as I said, I'm not here to make a political statement about it, but it doesn't measure up. But again, I don't care who you are. To have been one of the lucky 53 people that witnessed this back in 1981, it surely would have been remarkable. Anytime you can watch a player score 100 points in a game, again, regardless of whether it's a boys' game, girls' game, or whatever, it's definitely an accomplishment and something that should be reveled in and remembered. And that's exactly what we're doing here on this program tonight, as Linda Page celebrating her 100-point effort against the Jules Massenbaum Tech back on this night in 1981. So congratulations. In a Will Chamberlain wasn't the only one who scored 100 points in a game, as this attests to. So there you go. There is your day in Philadelphia sports history. The Jules Page 100-point game against Jules Massenbaum Tech. Truly remarkable. And that, again, it doesn't matter if it's boys or girls. It's what it is. So I hope you enjoyed that. But all right, let's get into it. Let's get into why it came. Earlier today on the network, I had the privilege and honor, as I have over the past 5 years, to finish out season 5 of the Birds Blast with Kyle Quinn. And Kyle and me, we cut up some things. We talked about the game, and as we were having our conversation, it obligatorily bled into performances of Jalen Hurts, bled into a critique of his season, a critique of his game, somewhat of a critique of him winning the MVP. And the more time that I've had to think about it, I feel really bad that I went there with it, because I'm just as bad as the homers are at this point. And, I want to apologize to those of you who watched that episode. I want to apologize to Kyle, because that show was not designed for me for a soapbox to be the rallying opposition against Jalen Hurts. It was to revel and to remember and recall back the dominant performance of the Eagles in Super Bowl 59. And I don't know why I took the bait myself. I baited it. I set the trap. I put the bait in, and then I took it. So it was completely on me. And I feel bad about doing that, because when you go and you're doing a show like the Birds Blast that we do all year long, and we do it every week, and trying to get schedules linked up every week and trying to get things set up every week, it gets daunting at times. And it was our 5th year doing that together, and it was only the first time ever. And I didn't mention this on the program. And again, I apologize for not. It's the first time we ever had the opportunity to celebrate a Super Bowl. And again, this is the byproduct of my personal decisions to be out on the Philadelphia Eagles. And it's regardless of whether or not you agree with me or you don't agree with me. If you agree with my takes or if you don't agree with my takes, this is not what I'm trying to say. But my personal standpoint upon the Philadelphia Eagles and how I feel about them and how I feel about the culture and the management and the way the team is run and who's coaching the team. Whether or not you want to sit here and tell me they're the best thing since sliced bread, that's fine. You can tell me that all you want. I don't believe you, even though I've seen it with my own eyes that they're obviously the Super Bowl champions. But it doesn't change my feelings and how I feel about this organization and what I feel about how this organization has been run. Again, I'm not defending it. I'm not telling you that you're wrong, and I'm not saying that I'm right. I'm just saying this is part of the byproduct that I have to kind of be saddled with, as I can't sit here and revel in the joyousness that is winning a Super Bowl. I thought I could, and I thought I could put my feelings aside for just a couple days and enjoy a Super Bowl championship without continuing to take my opposition standpoints. And I let that bleed into my performance on the Birds Blast. And again, I want to apologize to Kyle for that, because that it wasn't designed for that, and I truly did not want to be that way. I wanted to enjoy it, and there was nothing to be controversial about during that show. There was nothing to be overly objective about. I mean, we were supposed to react to I was supposed to react to a 40-22 Eagles complete domination of the Kansas City Chiefs, and I let that kind of dissipate. So like, this is part of the problem that I have. This is part of the bed that I've made, and this is part of where I have to lay on a night-to-night basis. So I'm sorry again for all those that you were watching that, and it wasn't meant to be that way. But there's a reason why I feel this way, and we're going to get more into it here in a little bit. But as I said, as the title of the show dictates, enjoy it. Enjoy the moment of the Super Bowl, and I thoroughly have. I have enjoyed the moment. I've been very happy about what happened on Sunday, but certain aspects of the fan base can't leave well enough alone, and they got to start in on certain conversations and start in on certain topics that honestly they don't have a spot yet. They're jumping the gun. They're being too reactive to what happened on Sunday. How can you sit here and tell me that Jalen Hurts, after being the starting quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles, for 4 years, 21, 22, 23, for 4 years, is the greatest quarterback in franchise history? How can you tell me that? Because he led them to 2 Super Bowls and he's won 1? Nick Foles has won a Super Bowl. Have we forgotten about his contributions to the Eagle lore? Have we forgotten about what he did for this organization? Now, am I going to compare the 2 quarterbacks? I can't. I can't sit here and legitimately compare Nick Foles and Jalen Hurts. Nick Foles was never given a shot for real. And everyone's going to tell me, well, you're wrong. He was. No, he wasn't. He was never given an opportunity to be the franchise quarterback because he was never viewed as the franchise quarterback, even though if you look back on Nick Foles' career, both tenures with the team, whenever given the opportunity, he's won, to include on the biggest stage. And again, I cite the game against the Patriots as Super Bowl 52 as more of a matchup of wills between Tom Brady than what Jalen Hurts did in Super Bowl 59 against Pat Mahomes. I firmly believe that Pat Mahomes and the rest of the Chiefs, were terrible, and Jalen Hurts benefited from that type of game and benefited from the performance of the defense. And yes, I maintain that any quarterback could have led the Eagles to victory over the Chiefs on Super Sunday. And I also maintain, and Kyle backed me up, that consistently throughout this season, the weakest link on this offense has been Jalen Hurts. That's not me making it up. That is what the actual numbers and that is what the optics tell you, that consistently the weakest link has been Jalen Hurts all season long on the offense. Do we forget about that? Does it get washed away with 1 Super Bowl championship? Because it didn't get washed away for Nick Foles like that. And Nick Foles threw 7 touchdowns in a single game once in his career. Has Jalen Hurts ever done that? He hasn't. And again, like I said on the show, I am not going to sit here and tell you that when it is all said and done with, years from now, if Jalen Hurts, we look back on it and he is the best quarterback in Philadelphia Eagle history, so be it. Make that comparison, make that argument, make that debate. But I just think just based off of 1 Super Bowl win, you're making a rash, overreactive decision to say that Jalen Hurts is the best quarterback that this organization has ever had. And I think, honestly, it undermines the validity of the intelligence of this fan base, that we are so overreactive and that we jump and we leap before we look every single time when it comes to this. And then we typically end up looking like fools over it. So I am not anti Jalen Hurts. I can't stress that enough. Just not pro Jalen Hurts. All right. I don't think he's that good of a quarterback. I don't think he's elite. And I certainly don't think he's the best quarterback in Eagle history today. 5 years from now, 10 years from now, maybe he is. But right now, you just can't say hands down, this guy's the best quarterback in Eagle history. Kyle Quinn agreed with me. He was the weakest link throughout the season on the offense. The Eagles reinvented themselves offensively because they could not depend on him to be that guy or that quarterback. They had to reinvent his role. You don't reinvent elite quarterbacks' roles. You don't stifle them. And Jalen Hurts himself has said comments to the effect of, today they let me out of the straitjacket, or whatever he said. So then he's verifying or validating that, yes, the Eagles have held him back in the offense. You don't do that to elite quarterbacks. Do you think Pat Mahomes ever feels like he's being held back by Andy Reid? Do you think Tom Brady ever felt that way? Do you think Joe Montana ever felt that way? Hell, do you think Donovan McNabb ever felt that way? I don't think I don't think any of those quarterbacks have ever felt that way. And out of Jalen Hurts' own mouth, he has said that. So one day, 10 years, 5 years, 6 years, 3 years, 4 years, whatever from now, when it's all said and done with, Jalen Hurts may go down in history as the best quarterback in Eagles history. But just because he won a Super Bowl 4 days ago doesn't make him the best quarterback in the franchise's history. It doesn't, because the same love wasn't given to Nick Foles. None of that love was given to him. The statue was given to Nick Foles. I don't know where the Jalen Hurts statue is. And the same thing with Nick Sirianni as the best coach in Eagles history. I'm befuddled by that. Okay. He's won a Super Bowl. Well, so is Doug Peterson. Doug Peterson was run out of here 3 years after he won that Super Bowl. Yes. Nick Sirianni's got a superior regular season record, 48-20, I think it is. He's 6-3 in the postseason. Doug Peterson was 6-3 in the postseason. So, I mean, the antics of Nick Sirianni and the shouting with the fans and the shouting with his own players and coaches, the demeaning of Zach Ertz, one of the greatest all-time, one of the greatest tight ends in Eagle history. Do we forget about all those things? And what exactly is Nick Sirianni's role on this team? We were told at the end of last season that he was no longer going to be the head coach, that he was going to be the CEO. Now, is he the greatest CEO in Eagles history? Yeah, I'll give you that, because it's a made-up role and it's a made-up title and all that. But he said it himself. He's really not the head coach anymore. He's going to let the coordinators run the respective units, offense or defense and special teams. Hell, I can do that. Hell, a lot of you could do that, right? So out of Eagles management's own mouth, Nick Sirianni's role as a head coach was, diminished or changed or rewritten out of the traditional head coach mold. So again, to sit here and say that he's the greatest head coach, have we forgotten what was about a year ago, what happened when he was redefined and his role was redefined? Now, again, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years from now, if things continue in this trajectory of winning in Super Bowls and, dare I say, dynasty, and Nick Sirianni is the pilot of all those things, yeah, maybe it changes. And maybe you can look at Nick Sirianni in that light of the greatest Eagles head coach of all time. But to make a bombastic statement right now based off of what happened 4 days ago completely changes us and diminishes us as a fan base. It attacks us where we like to believe we have superior edge over other fan bases, and that's in intelligence and football knowledge. But the come off because we won a Super Bowl and start making claims about Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni is utterly ridiculous, man. And I really hope the fan base just dials it back a little bit. Enjoy the moment. They're only as good as their last game. And right now, their last game was pretty damn good. But before you know it, the pages are going to start flipping, and we're going to find ourselves in September with at least probably 17 new players on this team, a new offensive coordinator, a new philosophy, a new direction, being the hunted instead of the hunter. And everything's going to change. Now, if Nick Sirianni can navigate that, if Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts can navigate through that minefield, and at the end of next season find themselves standing in San Francisco at Super Bowl 60, and they win that one, obviously I am not going to have any kind of goddamn leg to stand on. And I would probably join the conversation of validating both them as the greatest head coach and greatest quarterback. But we got to see first, and we got to watch this thing develop first, and we got to take it day by day and go through it, minute by minute, hour by hour. But to sit here now, you just sound stupid. We sound stupid. We sound stupid and uninformed making these claims. Because we see it. You all know what Jalen Hurts was this year. You all saw what Jalen Hurts was this year. And to sit here and try to make a claim that he's the greatest head coach or greatest quarterback in Eagle history, I don't know what you were watching and what I was watching. And same thing with Sirianni. His role was redefined at the beginning of the season, but we're forgetting all that. And now we're going back like it never happened. And it's, he's been the head coach all this time. So the title of the show is to take it easy. You're going to wear out your knee pads on day one. And I truly mean that. Just get off your knee pads, man. Stand up like a man. Look the guys in eye to eye and give them their kudos. But back off this slobber fest, man. This love fest. It's not warranted yet. It's not. The foundation has been laid. Yeah, okay. I'll give you that. But they have not finished the deal. What happens next year when they go 5-12? And don't make the playoffs? Does everybody backtrack what they said? Right? Or, I guess you could look at it from my standpoint too. What happens if they go 12-5 and win another Super Bowl? Do I backtrack everything I just said I would? But I need more evidence. I need to see more. Right? And I'm just saying, man, you're going to wear out your knee pads on day one. Just got to take it one day at a time. So there you go. There's my daily ego affirmation for all you folks out there that are, and some of you are battling with it. Some of you are struggling listening to one side versus the other. And I know there's another side, an opposing side. And I like to think there's other people out there than just me, but I know I'm a minority. But I know there's a sect of the fan base is really struggling with it. Really having a difficult time giving into it or resisting it or whatever. And all I say to you is, make your own informed decisions. And revel in the day. Enjoy it. They deserve it. The Eagles on that Sunday, on Super Bowl 59, were by far the better team. By far the team that deserved to win that football game. But to look at this thing, in the rear view now, and to kind of make these claims that you think Jalen Hurts is the greatest quarterback in Eagle history when he's only been here for 4 years. Nick Sirianni is the greatest head coach in Eagles history. He's only been here for 4 years. It diminishes, one, what Doug Peterson did. It diminishes, two, what Nick Foles did. And it also diminishes what Carson Wentz did to a certain extent. It diminishes it all because of their circumstances versus this circumstance. And if we're going game by game, and if we're going Super Bowl by Super Bowl, and if we reverse the roles, meaning if I took Nick Foles from Super Bowl 52 and put him in Super Bowl 59, and I put Jalen Hurts from Super Bowl 59 to 52, what do you think happens in those games? Now, the Patriots played the way they played in 52, and the Chiefs play like they played in 59. What do you think happens in those games? Do the Eagles win Super Bowl 52 with Jalen Hurts as the quarterback against that Patriots team? Do they? Does Nick Foles beat Pat Mahomes in Super Bowl 59 based on the way the Chiefs played? I think he does. The Chiefs played like crap. But does Jalen Hurts, does he beat the Chiefs or does he beat the Patriots in Super Bowl 52? I think it's an interesting thing. It's an interesting thought to have before you start making claims that Jalen Hurts is the greatest quarterback in Eagle history. That's all I'm trying to say. Step back a little bit. Look at this thing from panoramic view and try to see this thing from a different light. And maybe you'll see it differently. But whatever, if you don't see it differently, that's your thing. I get you. And I support that. Well, I don't really support it. I really don't care. But tomorrow, as I said, is the great validation day, Super Bowl 59 and its championship parade. 11 p.m. or 11 a.m., not 11 p.m., 11 a.m. It starts in Center City or South Philadelphia, I guess. Would anybody actually line the parade route in South Philadelphia? Meaning, would you actually go? I thought about this last time. Would you actually line up around the stadium? Or does everybody sort of concentrate up there by City Hall and out there by the Art Museum? I think it's an interesting question because I know that if you've looked at footage from last year, and when I did it, I was in Center City. But when you look at footage last year, the route that came up South Philly, that was pretty sporadic, and I guess I understand why. But would you, maybe in the essence of trying to get out of the area before everybody else does, go to South Philadelphia so you can see it right from the beginning, and then hop in the car and escape out of the city before everybody and their mother is leaving later on in the afternoon? I guess there's something to be said for both. Or I've known people that started in South Philly, ran up Broad Street as fast as they could, or followed the caravan up Broad Street all the way out to the Ben Franklin Parkway, all the way out that way too. I knew of somebody who did that last time. So I guess there's two schools of thought there. But again, if you're going tomorrow, I hope you guys have a great time, and I hope you enjoy it. Bring a blanket, bring some libations, and enjoy yourself wholeheartedly, because these don't happen so often. It was 8 years ago, the last one. So enjoy it. And there's a whole cool new generation of folks that are going to be at this one, and that's awesome. 8 years have gone by. So if you were born in 2018, you're now of age to go with your parents and enjoy that. And if maybe you were too young in 2018, well, now you're not. So now you get to go and enjoy that. I'm sure the schools in Philadelphia tomorrow will be somewhat minimalistic in attendance. But that's good stuff, man. That's good stuff. And, that's what this is all about, too. It's about creating fans for the future. And tomorrow is one of those days that will definitely do that. So have fun. I'll be watching, enjoying it too, but I will not be in attendance this time around. Maybe the next time. Maybe for the trifecta, I'll go. But Eagle Super Bowl parade, and for the homers out there, and for those of you that are feeling overcome with love, and maybe it's because it's Valentine's Day. Is that it? Is that why we're feeling this way too? Is because tomorrow's Valentine's Day? Like I said earlier in the program, the second holiday is about to be overcome with a Philadelphia sports parade. Halloween of course, belongs to the Phillies from 2008. And now Valentine's Day in 2025 will be synonymous with a parade. Is it the Valentine's thing in the air? Is Cupid shooting his arrows at everybody out there? Is that how we're accounting for all this Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni love? And you know what? You know what's been really interesting throughout this for me? Not much talk about Howie Roseman. And I'm prepared to give a lot of kudos to Howie. And, but he's not getting much love at all that I've heard. And that's interesting. And I haven't said a word about Howie because I had nothing to say. But I haven't heard much about Howie. A lot of love directed at Sirianni, a lot of love directed at Hurts, but not much going Howie's way, man. Somewhat disrespectful for the man who architected all this and created all this. So I find that very interesting. But is that one of the reasons why everybody's so overhyped with this love? Is that why everybody's going through knee pads left and right over the last 5 days? Is because of Valentine's Day being in the air? Maybe there's something to it. Tomorrow is the day of love. Tomorrow is the synonymous universal day of love. And like I said at the top as well, a lot of people tomorrow will have the obligatory I got proposed to be married on Valentine's Day at the Philadelphia Eagle Super Bowl parade. So there'll be a lot of those stories floating around, Philadelphia, and a lot of drunken idiots jumping down on one knee in the middle of Broad Street, drunk as hell at 1 o'clock in the afternoon asking their girlfriend of, hopefully it's an appropriate time. Hopefully it's appropriate. Try to take it from me. There's no rush in getting married. Hopefully you've been with the girl for at least a year. And then you ask her to marry. And hopefully the engagement lasts for about a year as well. No need to actually run to the altar too. But I'm sure there's going to be a lot of stories. And I'm sure the reporters and the people covering the parade are going to be looking for these little human interest stories that are happening in the audience. So be on the lookout for that all over social media as well. So enjoy yourself at the parade tomorrow. You deserve it, Philadelphia. You earned it, man. You worked hard. The Eagles worked hard. This season was out of absolutely nowhere. But now the veil has been lifted. The curtains have been drawn. The shutters have been ripped open. And now it's time, as we will celebrate tomorrow. Now it's time to get back to work on Monday, preparing for a title defense and, dare I say, a dynasty. And, of course, like I said on Sunday night on the postgame, a lot of narratives are shut down, especially about the 2024, or mostly about 2024 Eagles. But from this is born some other narratives that will continue to run through as we move through the offseason into next season as well. So, again, thank you to Kyle Quinn for coming on earlier to do the Birds Blast. I cannot stress enough 5 years of working with him on that. And as you heard him earlier, or if you didn't hear him earlier, he has agreed to do season 6. So we'll be back at season 6 on May 1st, 2025, as we'll come at you for our first episode. How it will work is we'll come on that night. We'll recap free agency trades, obviously the new offensive coordinator, and we'll talk mainly the draft. And then we'll disappear again, and we won't return until the end of August when we'll do our first show of the year, which we do our predictions, we pick our first and last place teams, our wild card teams, our championship game opponents, Super Bowl opponents, and Super Bowl winners. And then we'll throw in Eagles and whoever preview as we get ready for week 1. So we're officially in the offseason on the Birds Blast. And again, it's bittersweet because you get used to doing these things every week and you start getting used to seeing Kyle every week. And now football being the longest offseason of them all is in its infancy for the Eagles. So here's to a fast offseason too. Here's to a very quick one. And thankfully for the Super Bowl run, it should be. They got an extra month out of the season that many teams didn't get. So, and how the effects of that are going to be for next season. All interesting stories that have yet to be written. So there's my Eagles thing for the night. Get off your knee pads, give them a break, enjoy the moments, but don't overreach and reach for the stars because those stories are yet to be written, and let them sort of develop on their own. Now let's transition to some baseball talk because we do have some baseball talk in the news. Pitchers and catchers. Barbara, you made it. Yes, you did. Yes, Barbara, I switched to the 8 o'clock format probably back around Christmas. I know initially when I first came on, I was coming on at 10. Then I went down to 9. And now I'm at 8. So I'm at 8 o'clock now, Barbara. I don't necessarily see myself going any earlier than that or sitting in this 8 to 8:30 range. Even during post games, I'll be either how it will work is if I have the post game show, I won't do this show. I'll just do the post game show. If I do have a show and there's a post game, I'll come on before the post game. We'll kind of work it like that. So I'm glad you did make it, Barbara. The show is just not the same without you. But let's transition back to baseball. Phillies and catchers, spring training underway. So is everybody else. All the other teams in Major League Baseball have begun. There are still some players hanging around, and we're going to do another hot stove report right now. And it seems sort of redundant at this point to keep talking about the hot stove because you would like to say that the hot stove period of baseball is over, but there are some names still floating out there. There's a big one still floating out there that has yet to sign. So we're gonna go through another recap of the hot stove report here in a second. I mentioned tomorrow also being not only Eagles Parade Day, Valentine's Day, as well as the start of Division I baseball around America with a bunch of tournaments down south, out west, down in the Caribbean, down in Arizona, places like that. Just about every team in the country is going to be kicking their baseball season off starting tomorrow in tournaments, especially those playing up north that can't feasibly play outside yet, but they're going to be starting their baseball seasons off tomorrow, Division One wise. So that's if you have Division One, or if you're interested in Division One baseball, if you're just interested in kind of getting that baseball Jones fix for just one day. Tomorrow is your day. And then, of course, the Phillies will start. I think everybody comes into camp next week, 17th, I want to say. And then the first MLB spring training game is on the 22nd. And I think the Phillies' first game is the 24th. So there's no stopping it now, man. And March 29th, of course, is the opening day of the season. Phillies Nationals from Nationals Park in, where is that? Virginia? I don't even know where the hell that's at. Is that in Virginia? Barbara says, I heard Trey Turner volunteered to play outfield. Interesting situation, because the first conversation that brings up, I have not heard that, Barbara. And the first conversation that brings up is who's playing shortstop. And if you say it's going to be Bryson Stott, then who's playing second? It's interesting. And do we need Trey Turner to play? Are we going to put him in center? Are you moving Trey Turner into center field? I don't like that, Barbara. I don't. I mean, Trey Turner's a shortstop. I think he's okay at shortstop. Why can't we just go out and find some players, for God's sakes? Why do we got to do this? Why do we got to kind of reinvent the wheel? I don't think this is going to work. And I got to look for that, because I have not heard that. But that's interesting. Already the Band-Aids are being slapped on the Phillies, and we haven't even started the season yet. Trey Turner volunteering to play outfield. It's interesting. But I guess let's get into the hot stove. We've been doing this all off season long. We've been kind of popping in on the hot stove, checking it out. As I mentioned, we're getting to that point. Some big names are still out there, but we're running out of time as spring training has begun. So let's jump into the hot stove report one more time. Well, you got to imagine that the embers of the hot stove are starting to burn out, but that fire looked pretty raging. Let's get into it. Let's catch everybody up. As of February 12th, Lou Trevino is now heading from the Yankees to the Giants on a minor league deal with an invitation to spring training. Michael A. Taylor going from Pittsburgh to the White Sox on a one-year deal. Interesting. I remember a few years back, man, Michael A. Taylor would have been nice. I wanted him here. This was back when he was still playing for Kansas City. I wanted the trade deadline move to bring him here to play center field, but he signed a one-year deal with the White Sox. Again, I would have liked to have him this year. He batted 193 last year with 5 homers and 21 RBIs, but I think he battled injuries for most of the season. I think he's definitely a good option, better option than what we have in center field now, but he's now a White Sox. Drew Smith, the right-hand pitcher, is staying with the Mets on a one-year deal. Cal Quantrill going from Colorado. This is big. Going from Colorado to Miami on a one-year deal. So now he's entering the National League East. 8-11 last year with a 4.98 ERA and over 100 strikeouts, 110. That's an interesting news nugget. Again, he was a starting pitcher that the Phillies could have jumped on to bring some stability to that rotation, but they let that go. Matt Fiesta, the starting pitcher, the right-hand pitcher, is going from Chicago to Texas on a minor league deal. JT Charogis, the right-hand pitcher, going from Seattle to Texas on a minor league deal. Pete Alonso, of course, the big one, 2-year deal, staying in New York, keeping his 240 batting average, 34 home runs, and 88 RBIs in New York and Queens. Signed a 2-year deal with the Mets, solidifying that middle of that order that's going to be a pain in the ass to navigate through next season for the Phillies and everybody else. Tyler Alexander is going from Tampa to Milwaukee on a 1-year deal, and Clayton Kershaw is staying in Los Angeles with the Dodgers on a 1-year contract as he decided to re-up with the Dodgers, and the Dodgers decided to re-up him, which is very interesting. So that leaves me with one major name still floating around, remains unsigned. I haven't heard any updates on the Alex Bregman situation. I reported this about 6 weeks ago that the Phillies were allegedly involved in talks with Bregman and his representation. And at the sticking point, the point that was holding all this up was the Phillies were trying to broker a deal to get Alec Bohm out of here. Alec Bohm is still here, and Alex Bregman is not. So I don't know what you take from that. I know that the Astros have been skirting around the clear up cap room. Altuve has said he'll redo his contract. They traded Presley to the Cubs. I mean, they've tried to make room. Is it just impending? I haven't heard. But Alex Bregman remains the lone diamond floating around in the sea of free agency as we are getting beyond the end point. I mean, we are literally into the spring training, and Alex Bregman remains a free agent. So more to follow about what happens to him. But there was your hot stove report. Probably about the 50th we've done this offseason. I don't know if it's going to be the last one, but it's we're getting to that point. It's seeming redundant at this point. It's all because Harper refused to play outfield. I love Trey. That's short. So, man, Barbara, you're like the insider. Where are you getting all this from? White Sox are where careers die. I don't think so. I think the White Sox will turn it around. I think that they got a good young, they got some good young players. It's going to be a while. I'm not saying they're turning it around next year, but they're going to start amassing. They remind me a lot of the Royals from like 1986 through 2012. It took the Kansas City Royals like 20 years amassing all this first round draft talent to finally make a run that lasted for about 4 years, and then it all became apart because they all became free agents. But it's a bad place to be. If right now it is. Right now it's a bad place to be. I agree with you there. Maybe they should go back to wearing shorts and the big butterfly collars. Let's go back to the old black and white Chicago White Sox uniforms. They should just do that to really, really excite the fan base. And Barber coming in with some breaking news. I haven't heard this. Bregman signs a 3-year deal with the Red Sox. Stop the presses, Barbara. Let me verify that. That's interesting. So look at Barbara coming, being the It's a Rap Sports reporter on the spot here. Let's see. Yeah, you're right. It is a massive deferred money deal with the Boston Red Sox. So it sounds like he signed a 3-year deal that's reminiscent of the deal that Ohtani signed with the Dodgers, $120 million over 3 years. Wow. Interesting. So what does that do to the landscape of the American League East? Alex Bregman to the Boston Red Sox for 3 years, $120 million deferred, which includes an opt-out after each season. A very user-friendly contract. Now, this is the type of contract I would have accepted if he came here. I love the years. I love the 3-year deal. The money's not that bad, and it's deferred money anyway, and there's opt-outs after each season. This is an extremely user-friendly deal. Bregman was wanting $200 million a year, if you remember. Or he was looking for a contract upwards, not $200 million a year, but upwards in the $200 million range. He comes down, way down, takes a 3-year deal. See, why couldn't we get this deal done? This was the perfect contract for the Phillies and Alex Bregman. 3 years is about as long as it's going to take Aiden Miller, in my opinion, to get to third base. Maybe that's actually a year longer, too. But this was a perfect contract for the Phillies to get Bregman on. I'm digging the length. 3 years and $120 million. Kudos to the Boston Red Sox. It's a savvy move. It locks you into a very perennial power-hitting third baseman. It changes the face of the American League East. It puts the Red Sox in the conversation with the Orioles and the Yankees. It sinks the Blue Jays right down to the bottom. But and it also provides you some flexibility and wiggle room after every single season for the next 3 years, which is doable. I wouldn't even have taken the damn opt-out clause if I was the Phillies. That's something extra. Or maybe it was Bregman who wanted it. But this is the type of contract that I was looking for. And why couldn't Dave Dombrowski broker this deal? Outstanding move by the Red Sox. And they just got better. So Alex Bregman, as reported by our stat girl Barbara, signs a 3-year, $120 million deferred with an opt-out after every year contract with the Boston Red Sox. And the Phillies missed out on yet another highly talented, but again, I told you from the beginning of this entire thing, I wasn't really in on Bregman, but because I was scared of what the money was going to look like. And not so much the money, but the years. I was thinking he was looking for like an 11-year contract, and I was not prepared to give him another. I wasn't prepared to lock myself into a Trey Turner or Bryce Harper type deal. But 3 years, man, that is the kind of contract that I would have taken if I was the Phillies in a heartbeat. So Alex Bregman is now off the board, and that's pretty much will end it right there. The Phillies are officially an offseason bust, have not done anything significant to improve their team heading into 2025. It is official now. Alex Bregman, a Boston Red Sox, was the last hope if the Phillies were looking to make a splash. Now, there's some fans out there that are like, well, they don't need to make a splash every year. I agree with you. But really, seriously, heading into this season, based on what the rest of the league has done, what the rest of the division has done, and based on what the Phillies have not done, are the Phillies better or worse? One, are the Phillies better or worse than their competition in the National League East? And two, are they better or worse or the same as they were when they stepped off the field in 2024 after getting spanked out of the playoffs by the Mets? And if you say they're worse or the same, they're sort of that's sort of the same message as they would. Wow. And then the news Barber also reports that Trey Turner has volunteered to play in the outfield, whereas Bryce Harper has said he won't. When did we start having to listen to players like that? Wow. At what point does a player who hasn't won anything, mind you, Bryce Harper has not won a damn thing, starts making demands about where he will not play? I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, this generation of baseball, one, the players are uppity. Two, the managers, the general managers, the coaches, they're a shell if they're going to allow Bryce Harper. I don't care who he is. You know, tell me where you're going to play first and foremost. You don't do that. But a great optic for the Phillies going into the season. Bryce Harper, who hasn't won a damn thing, is telling the manager where he will and will not play. Trey Turner has volunteered to go to the outfield, which I think is a mistake. And the Phillies have done nothing in free agency. And it's official that they cannot really do anything more in free agency, as the last jewel was plucked by the Red Sox. Hell of an optic heading into the 2025 season there, Dave Dombrowski. I guess the question now I have is whose seat's hotter right now? Dave Dombrowski's or Rob Thompson heading into the 2025 season? What is John Middleton? What line of hooey did Dave Dombrowski feed John Middleton in the offseason to justify not going after anybody and only bringing in Max Kepler, Jordan Romano, Joe Ross or John Ross, and Jesus Luzardo? What line of BS did John Middleton swallow from Dave Dombrowski to agree to that while the Mets were bringing in Soto, re-signing Alonso, the Dodgers out there? Who did they bring? The Dodgers brought in, who was it? The pitcher. They brought Blake Snell in, but they also brought somebody else in. And they got better. The Braves are going to be better because Kuna and Strider will be back, and they made a few moves as well. So everybody in the division that the Phillies were, better than last year have now gotten better. Whereas the Phillies, who have been regressing steadily since the World Series in 2022, and then the regression got accelerated back in June and has been on a full rampant downward slide since, are now going to start the 2025 season with apparently players telling their manager where they're going to play and where they're not going to play. Great look. And what line of bullcrap is Dave Dombrowski going to feed? And here's my other point about this, and we got to move off the Phillies. Phillies are betting on the Dodgers Mets imploding in Lions. That's a risky bet there, Barbara. I'm not saying it could happen, but I'm just saying that's a risky bet. Middleton's stupid money ran out. I don't know, Barbara. Did it? Or did Dave Dombrowski tell him, no, John, we're fine, man. Relax. Bryce Stott was hurt, and he should never have been batting fifth. Trey Turner was hurt, and we're going to move him to leadoff. Bryce Harper was still recovering from Tommy John. Kyle Schwarber had a really good batting. He batted for average, but now we're going to move him down the lineup, and we're going to put him in 5. So he's going to hit more home runs, or he's going to hit the same amount of home runs, 30, but he's going to drive in more runs because there's going to be more people on base in front of him. JT was hurt, so he'll be fine. Final year, he's playing for a new contract, too. He's going to be playing for a new contract. Alec Boehm, I personally spoke to him. We're on a good page with each other. He'll be fine. Our pitching is shallow as hell, but all we'll do is rely on Wheeler and Nola to get us through, and pray to God that we can get to the playoffs. Who cares about our 5th starter? We'll do a bullpen game every 5th day, or we'll do like we did last year. We'll rotate kids up from AAA, and hopefully we stumble upon one along the season that can be our 5th starter. Our bullpen, hey, how can you go wrong with bullpen by committee there, John? It works well. We're okay. Yeah, we lost Estevez. We lost him. We lost Hoffman. Yeah, we lost him, but we replaced him with Jordan Romano, who had an ERA close to 7 last year, but he was hurt. And we think he's going to do big things for us. Alvarado, I feel good about Alvarado, John. I think this is his year to shine because now he doesn't have competition because Sir Anthony's gone. Joe Ross can come in and he can be a good, long reliever. And if we need him to do spot starts, we got him for that. Kerkering, I think, John, is the year that he turns the corner, man. I really do. I really feel good about Kerkering. I'm sure that conversation was sort of what was told to John Middleton by Dave Dombrowski to justify why no money was spent and no significant upgrades were made on this team. And as we get into spring training, and again, I know a lot of people's focus is still on the Eagles, rightfully so. At what point do the bullets start flying out of the gun against Dave Dombrowski? And and I'm not even going to blame Rob Thompson for this. This is not Rob Thompson's doing. Rob Thompson did not assemble this team. It's Dave Dombrowski. And I hope the hell this is not a prelude to what Dave Dombrowski's default mode is. And you guys know what I mean by the default mode, right? That is to default back down to starting to sell off our minor league system. He started doing it last year at the trade deadline by letting go 3 prospect pitchers for, once again, players that didn't work out. Estevez gone. Hayes gone. We let go 2 in that Estevez trade. We gave up 2 top 10 project or prospect pitchers in that trade. And now they're entrenched in the Angels farm system. Matter of fact, Sam Algaruri, he actually had about 5 starts at the end of last season, pitched every bit as you expected he would have pitched. But still, he's a project. He's a prospect. But they got 2 prospect pitchers of ours. Logan O'Hoppe is sitting as their starting catcher. Mickey Moniak, who's somewhat revives his career. So all the Phillies prospects are now apparently with the Angels, as we are plucking players away from the Angels for 3 months, and then we let them disappear. I'm telling you, the next step for this is Dombrowski to default back to his, let's sell off the minor leagues so I can make a run for the World Series. Because what assets does he have on this team that he can move off of? I mean, you could potentially move off of Kyle Schwarber and JT Realmuto at some point this season. Both of them are in contract years. If things start to go south, you might be able to do that. But who's going to take JT Realmuto off your hands for an asset? Nobody is, because JT is on a downward spiral of his career. I hate to say that to all the BCIB people out there who believe he actually still is, but physically he's starting to break down. Kyle Schwarber could be a different situation. If Schwarber continues to bat for average And if the Phillies do move him down the lineup and give him more opportunities to drive in runs, and he does drive in those runs, he could potentially get you something at the trade deadline. But you'd be trading him to a possible contending team that you might have to deal with later on. It's an interesting situation. Now, if the wheels come completely off the Phillies, then they sell everybody. But moving through the season is going to be interesting. And I hope to hell Dombrowski does not default down in his default mode and start trading away our farm system. God help us if Wheeler, Nola, Sanchez, etc. have off years. Well, I don't think it's a big ask for Wheeler and Nola. I think that's pretty guaranteed. One thing about Nola and Wheeler is, well, Wheeler's dominant. I think Wheeler, I think he made my all-time Phillies starting rotation. He's like my fifth starter or my fourth starter. I know that no problems there with Wheeler, and I have no concerns with Wheeler. Nola's the problem or the concern, not because every fifth day he picks up the baseball, which is huge. And I'm not going to discredit that, but you just don't know what Nola you're going to get every fifth day. Sanchez, there's the wild card, right? Does he build off of what he started last season? He signed the big extension. He had a breakout season. Can he continue to build off of that, or does he slide back? And that's going to be huge. And same thing with the other one, Suarez. I mean, there's two really interesting question marks at the bottom end of our rotation, and there's no safety net for any of them. So if Suarez and Sanchez, say they both don't make it, who are you looking at replacing them? You got Ross you could do out of the bullpen. And then, of course, we're going to start the Andrew Painter stuff. And that's going to be a nauseating conversation through the summer. Andrew Painter is not available until at least July. I'm telling you this. He's just not going to be available to pitch for the Phillies until at least July. So, Jesus. I mean, why are we heading into the season with more questions that we had coming out of the season? That's what I don't get. We're heading into the season with more questions than we had going out of the season. Taijuan Walker, who I saw an interview the other day, said that he just flushed all of 2024. Like it never happened, took what he needed from it, and then moved on from it. So maybe he turns it around, and maybe he becomes, the fifth starter being paid $3 million. I don't know, man. Maybe that works out. JT is like Kelsey, time to move on. Yeah, it will be at the end of this season, Barbara. All in all, again, as I said, there's a lot more questions, in my opinion, than answers heading into the Phillies season in 2025. And Barbara, thank you for the breaking news. Alex Bregman, a Red Sox, for 3 years, $120 million deferred, with an opt-out at the end of each year of the contract. Why could we have not gotten that deal for Alex Bregman? That's a deal that Dave Dombrowski should have gotten done. And I would feel a lot better heading into this season with Bregman at third base. But it is what it is. Let's get into the of the night segment. All righty. This is the other night segment. This is the time of the show where we talk about a Phillies prospect, a Flyers prospect, a draft MLB or NHL, or a spotlight player from the Phillies or Flyers. We either introduce them to you because you might not have never heard of them, or we reintroduce them to you to kind of keep you abreast of who he is or she, if the Flyers ever draft a woman. And we just have some fun. We've been in baseball the last couple of nights. We did Jordan Romano a few nights back. Last night we talked about an MLB draft target. What was his name? It was our boy Wihiwa Aloy of the University of Arkansas. We're going out. We're leaving baseball tonight. We're going to hockey. That's right. We're going to give the Flyers some love tonight, as we're almost done with the Flyers prospects. But they threw a wrench in the works to me last week when they added at least one more prospect by trading away Joel Farabee and Morgan Frost. They added two players. One of them projects to be more of a prospect type player that will probably, when the dust settles, return to the AHL, but he's going to play with the Flyers as soon as he gets his visa problems worked out. And that, of course, is Mr. Jacob Peltier, one of the players in the Frost and Farabee trade. Currently with the Flyers, but he's not really with the Flyers because he's got visa problems. Hasn't played a game with the Flyers yet. They're trying to work this thing out now that we're on the Four Nations tournament break. It should be worked out. He should be in a Flyers uniform on the 22nd against Edmonton, but he is a left wing / center, currently playing for the Flyers, 5'11", 181, drafted in the first round by the Calgary Flames back in 2019. He is a highly skilled offensive player with good vision, high-end shot, and creativity with the puck on his stick. Offensively, he is very opportunistic, and if he smells a scoring chance, he seems to have an extra gear and killer instinct. He is heavy on the forecheck and finishes his checks. He forechecks and back checks with zest. Listen, in my opinion, this was the centerpiece of the trade. Yeah, what's his name? What's the other guy's name? Andre Komachek. You know what I'm talking about. I think he was just sort of take the contract off our hands type move. But Jacob Pelletier, I think, was the centerpiece of this trade for Frost and Farabee. I think he projects to be part of the future in the future. He's had a little bit of a, when you're drafted in the first round, you have certain high expectations. It has not worked out for him with Calgary. There could be a sense of just a change of scenery for him. I think Tortorella really likes what he brings to the mix. I don't know if they're going to put him at left wing or center, but he can play both. Quite just about how Morgan Frost did it, really. I mean, you got to look at this sort of as the Morgan Frost 2.0. And he'll be given an opportunity, obviously, probably for the rest of this season to see what he can do with the Flyers. And then going forward, he's an RFA under team control for the next at least 6 years. So he'll be a Flyer as long as the Flyers want him. And again, he is, I think, the centerpiece of this trade. Currently, this season with the Calgary Hitmen, and that's it. He just played with the Hitmen, or not the Hitmen. I'm sorry, the Calgary Wranglers of the AHL. 20 games played, 3 goals, 16 assists for 19 points, and a +4. +7. So when he's on the ice, they score, and I think right now that's all he is to me. He's an AHL player. But he's going to get an opportunity at the NHL level this year with the Flyers once they work out his working visa problems. So we'll see. But there he is, Jacob Pelletier, our newest member of the Flyers, and definitely fits the mold of a prospect. I like to call him the Morgan Frost 2.0, as I think this was the centerpiece of the trade to get rid of Farabee and Frost. So there you go. Jacob Pelletier is our of the night segment player of the Flyers. And we're almost done with the Flyers prospects, man. We are actually down to like 3 of them left, and we've gone through them all this entire season. So very impressed with that. Flyers need to hit on all these prospects. You ain't kidding, Barbara. You ain't kidding. All right, let's get into the card review. Yeah, you ain't kidding. I cannot echo that. I cannot agree with you more.
Looks a little something like this. Looks a little bit like I can't miss. Hey, this is what you call a bad. What? This is what you call a bad. What? Looks a little something like this. Looks a little bit like I can't miss. Hey, this is what you call a bad. What? This is what you call a bad.
All right. Yep. This is the card review segment. My most fun time of the night when we talk about one of my very many sports cards that I have in my vast collection. Talk about it. Discuss it, maybe we reintroduce ourselves to this player. Could be a name, a blast from the past, blast for the future, a project player, whatever. I have some very unique cards in my collection, and we're going through them one at a time. Tonight we're on baseball. We went to where we were last night. Were we baseball? Yeah, we were on baseball last night, but we're still in baseball, and we're back in the 87 Tops. I told you this. 87 Tops is a huge series of cards. It's one of the more popular ones. It's one of the more widespread ones. Everybody's got 87 Tops, and there's a lot of them. And I am no stranger to that. I got a ton of 87 Tops, but there's some good cards in that collection. We did Cecil Fielder last night. So tonight we're staying in the 87 Tops world, and we're going with a very underappreciated player from my youth growing up. And he doesn't have a good name in Philadelphia because of where he played majority of his career, and then later on managed in his career, but still a very underappreciated, highly skilled second baseman. And that is Willie Randolph of the New York Yankees. This is his 87 Tops card. As I mentioned, Willie was a really good player in my youth. but because he played with the Yankees, never given much respect for obvious reasons. Hate the Yankees, but really had a very decent career for himself. Broke in with the Yankees broke in with the Pirates in 75, then was sent to the Yankees in 76. Played with the Yankees from 76 to 88. Stints with the Dodgers, A's, Brewers, and then the Mets to end his career as a player. And as a manager, of course, the manager of the Mets from 05 to 08 was the manager of record that piloted one of the greatest collapses in Major League Baseball history, the 07 Mets, to the hands of the Phillies. So, of course, with much respect there for you there, Willie Randolph, from the Phillies standpoint. As a coach, he coached the Yankees from 94 to 04. He coached the Brewers from 09 to 10 and the Baltimore Orioles in 2011. His highlights in his career: a 6-time AL All-Star in 76, 77, 80, 81, 87, and 89. A 5-time World Series champion as a coach and a player in 77, 96, 98 through 2000. A Silver Slug award winner, in 1980. And he has been honored with a plaque in Monument Park in Yankee Stadium. Career 276 batting average, had over 2,000 hits in his career, 22-10, 54 home runs, as he wasn't much of a power threat, 687 runs batted in. He's and 302 and 253 as a manager for a 5.44 winning percentage. So, again, a very competent, skilled second baseman growing up, mainly as I remember him playing for the Yankees. Kind of the Don Mattingly curse, right? Where he spent a lot of his time with the Yankees when they weren't really that good, and had a very good career in the process of that, just like Don Mattingly did with the Yankees, as he spent his entire career there, and they were dreadful, all but the final year of his career. But there you have it. Willie Randolph is he's our card review of the Knights. God, I can't get that out. And here it is. Here's the actual physical form of that card I have right here, the 87 Willie Randolph. Again, the iconic 87 wood paneling. This card's got pretty good edges. It's cut really well, too, actually, is this one? Nah, actually, it's okay. There's a little centering issue with the border, which is a common thing in the 87 tops, right? A lot of these cards came out cut wrong and went out in the population and circulation that way. This card is not worth but about $3. I think I have it listed on eBay right now for $3. And most databases that I've seen it's about a $3 card. So you're not going to run the world with Willie Randolph 87 tops, but it's a good, cool card. And again, it brings back memories of a begotten time when I thought he was a very good second baseman, and didn't see him much because of, obviously playing in the American League, and in the 80s we didn't have cable or the internet or anything else, and we lived very basic lives. But do remember him and hearing about him, and had a very, very solid career. So Willie Randolph is our card of the night in our card review segment. So, and Barbara chimes in and says he was an underrated player. He was. And again, much respect and love goes out to Willie Randolph for being the manager of the 07 Mets. I'll never forget that as long as I live. Absolutely never forget that, as he was, of course, helped us out. Helped us out there, Willie. Appreciate it, man. Do that 7-game lead in September. Way to go. But there you got it, folks. There's our card of the night, Willie Randolph. We did the of the night segment. Jacob Peltier, the Flyers' latest prospect, who I believe was the centerpiece of that trade for Morgan Frost and Joel Farabee. And we talked a little bit about baseball, as we got college baseball Division I starting tomorrow. Pitchers and catchers are in full swing down in Clearwater, Arizona, wherever else in Florida they may be, as all the teams in baseball are back at it. Our topic of the night was twofold. Is it Valentine's Day? Is it that the reason why all this love, gushing love for Jalen Hurts, Nick Sirianni, but not much for Howie Roseman, which I find very interesting? But is it the Valentine's Day thing? Is it warping a lot of Eagle fans' perspective over these two individuals? And please, as the title of the show states, take it day by day and give your knee pads a break, because you're going to need them throughout the winter. And you can't go shooting through knee pads, a set a day. You really can't. You got to pace yourselves. Tomorrow, of course, is the Eagles championship day parade going up Broad Street and what have you. How many of the he asked me to marry him at the Eagles parade on Valentine's Day stories are going to come out of this day? And I hope somebody's documenting that. I hope there's an actual reporter running around the crowds on Broad Street. I don't know how you find this out. I mean, I don't know how you ascertain this knowledge, but I like to know how many stories of he asked me to marry him at the Eagles parade on Valentine's Day in 2025. And I'm sure that's going to be a sub-story tomorrow, as a great day will happen as the Eagles' second Super Bowl parade will commence at 11 a.m. at Lincoln Financial Field. And of course, I issued a public apology for my behavior earlier on the Birds Blast with Kyle Quinn, where I turned it into a indoctrination, or not indoctrination. What's the word when you turn it into a I turned it into a trial, I guess, of Jalen Hurts, his season, and his elevated status, mis-elevated status, not necessarily talking about what he did on Super Sunday. And I turned it into an argument where no argument should have occurred in a show like that, as we were celebrating the Super Bowl championship of the Eagles. So I apologize publicly to Kyle Quinn and anybody else that might have been offended by my remarks. I don't really care if you're offended by my remarks, but I got to be more professional than that. So I do apologize for that. It should have been about Jalen Hurts. It should have been about, it should have been about the Eagles, not Jalen Hurts. So I said I issued an apology, somewhat of an apology. You know, I'm never really ever going to apologize for anything I do, but you know, I gotta be better than that. And as me and Kyle wrapped up our 5th season together on the Birds Blast with Kyle Quinn, I should have been better than that, especially the fact that we've never wrapped up a season with a Super Bowl championship. So, and I won't get another shot at that. And it's unfortunate, but, you know, I wrapped it up that way. Kyle Quinn has agreed that he will be back for season 6 of the Birds Blast, which will debut on May 1st, 2025. And then after that, we'll come back in late August and get it all rolling again, as the Eagle season, of course, will commence at that point. We talked a lot about the so go ahead and check that out. By the way, it's up on the YouTube channel. It was a good show. I thought we had a good time with it. So there's Kyle. It's Kyle's mug. So we had fun with that. So make sure you go ahead and check that out. Barbara checking back in, saying Billy Wagner imploded on the Mets. Yeah, yes, he did. Yes, he did. Hyde Roseman circumvents the salary cap. I don't know why other teams don't do it. Joe Burrow talked about. Yeah, I saw that. You're right. There is no. I mean, Hyde Roseman is not, you know, waving a magic wand. He's doing very basic economics, and other teams are not doing that. And again, I'm not faulting Howie. Honestly, none of this venom has been attracted to Howie at all. But you're right. He's not doing anything superhuman. I mean, he's doing his job. I'm sorry I missed the Eagles show. I wouldn't have. No. You're taking it the wrong. Well, check it out, Barbara. It's up on the YouTube channel. But no, I turned it into a little bit of an attack on Jalen Hurts, and it wasn't meant to be that way. I don't back off of how I feel about Jalen, but for that particular show, it was more of a celebration of the Super Bowl. So I should have been more celebratory. But no, I mean, it wasn't like I completely went off the res. No, just go check it out. You make your own opinion. But anyway, we got a good show tonight, and that's it, folks, for the week. We're done. That's it. We're done. We won't be back till Sunday, and I've made your announcement on Sunday night about the future of this program heading into the next month. I am heading south. That's right, south, young man. Go south. I am going to Alabama for the next at least month, starting on Wednesday next week. I'll be working baseball. I'll be working college baseball, Division I college baseball, Division II college baseball, some perfect game stuff. So I'm going to be I'm going to be living in right outside of Birmingham, Alabama for at least the next month, starting next Wednesday. And the show will go on. I'm not going to take the show off the air, but it's going to kind of maybe go through a different, I don't know. We're going to have to work out some things for it, but I just want to let everybody know that. But I will be back next Sunday night for the beginning of our broadcast week, and we'll go as far as we can for the week, and then we'll make some decisions later in the week. So thank you for a great week. We talked about a lot, a great week in Philadelphia sports altogether. Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Phillies have renewed the annual rituals of spring as spring training is underway. We've endured, I like to call this the, well, actually, this is not the dog days. The dog days of sports are in the summer, but we got through a rough period that could have been really rough, especially if the Eagles did not make a run and went all the way to mid-February. So we've gotten through it. Now it's time to continue the celebration. Eagles victory parade tomorrow down there on Broad Street. Go get your spot now. As a matter of fact, it might be too late, but enjoy yourselves. You earned it. It's a great day to be an Eagles fan. If you're not going, please watch it. And I really suggest, highly recommend, if you have not been to one of these, I suggest you go. Just get it off the bucket list. You don't know when the next one will be. And I know the homers are telling you that this is the start of a dynasty. I wouldn't listen to them really that much. But go down if you can. If you're hemming and hawing about it, if you're on the fence about it, it's never too late to go down. Listen, yes, you're going to be caught in a sea of people, but it doesn't matter. You'll be there and you'll see some stuff. So if you're hemming and hawing about it, head down. Take the L in. The L is free. SEPTA is free tomorrow. And all routes heading into the city are free. Take advantage of that. Enjoy yourself. Spend some time with some like-minded individuals. I took my kids in 2018. I'll never forget that. It was a great day. And they'll never forget it either. So that's the most important part. They'll never forget it. So make sure, if you can, go down to the parade and enjoy yourself. You won't be sorry. I'm telling you, you won't be. And we'll see you guys on Sunday as we'll be back for another episode or another broadcast week of the Final Word with MattyB. So you guys have a great rest of your night and an even better weekend, and we will talk again on Sunday.